Who knows? But I still have all my stakes on Ethereum, so I am all for Hex on Ethereum going on a run too. So just saying, I'm being realistic on my expectations though, as far as the coin goes. I hope it goes to $100, man. I'd be ultra rich at that point.
Being extremely conservative, even if Hex just reaches half its all-time high, it's already at 25x. Where else can you get 25x? Nowhere. And then that's just hitting half the all-time high. It's still like 50% from the all-time high. If it hits the all-time high, then that's 50x, which is surreal. So even being extremely conservative, the gains are just surreal. So either way, we're good. Basically saying.
No, exactly. Like, I mean, it's nice to finally see some indicators of this run possibly kicking off, because people held long enough. You know what I mean? And people have these cycles are like 4 years, man. It's just they can get brutal.
So,
Yeah, they do get
so,
brutal. Like people do lose hope sometimes. Yeah, go for it.
so
Sorry. Come
Somi
on.
made a post saying that it would take 100 million to 100x hacks on Pulse Chain. Do you think
Yep.
that 100 million is realistic?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it is. And that's not much, right? I mean, when you think of like all these people that really invest big dollars, the guys with like really deep pocket in a world like with 8 billion people, that's nothing. It can really move this price like really high.
So what if $1 billion came into Hex? Because I think we're also underestimating the narrative of what Hex is supposed to be. It's supposed to replace Bitcoin.
Well,
So
I
if
don't
that
know. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
if that's supposed to happen, and actually it addresses a larger market than that, because if you look at the post that I made, right? It addresses $100 trillion market, or at least that's the narrative that's being presented here on the hex.com website, right?
Well,
So
I don't.
that's something that I think people are not really looking at. They're looking at it obviously, from a conservative angle, and that's good too. You want to be conservative because you don't want to get caught with your pants down. But I mean,
Were, were you around for? God, I forget the name of that not deck screener, but it was. They went away. The guy went bankrupt, and he actually he fell because he hit on Hex. So they used to have the origination address amount or circulating supply of coins in the market cap, and I think back then, I don't know, post Lauren.
it was Nomics, I think.
Nomics, thank you, Nomics. Yes, Nomics. I was drawing a blank on their name. So Nomics used to have the market cap when Bitcoin was just right at a trillion. Yeah,
Economics, yeah.
number three on Nomics, and and then the dude decided, well, I'm not going to count the '08 coins, so we're gonna, basically, I mean, we slid all the way down to what, like number 60, 59, something like that, and then the only people who were using Nomics were hexagons.
With the high fees, I was paying $400
Yep.
for a swap, right? Like it was
And
absolutely
stay. Yep.
insane, and I was doing that on a regular basis. Thank God I could afford it, but the average person cannot. So it's just completely unsustainable. We did a 10,000x with all the high fees, with all the hate, with gatekeeping, with coin market cap, hiding the ranking and all of this. So
And that.
there's still a huge window of opportunity available, that a lot of gates that haven't been knocked down yet. What if
Yep.
coin market cap starts showing the right ranking,
Well,
right?
there's still that lawsuit is not done with. There's
Exactly.
still that
Yeah.
lawsuit, and then imagine this. I mean, we're on Halloween. We might get some of the greatest news ever.
I'm glad to see the market moving the way that it is currently, because the speculation that I had was that both Pulse and Pulse X were going to go back up to sack price right before the October 31st court case. So seemingly that's starting to happen now as we speak. And like Ruckus was saying, like, say if we just get a bombshell of an announcement on October 31st, and it just blows right past SAC, and then that just kicks off the Pulsechain bull run. Like that would be an epic occurrence to take place right on Halloween.
100%. And I was gonna add, at least for our protocols, I mean, the math is really simple. We're still small, right? Like, being honest, we there's so much room for growth. Is if you picture that, obviously Pulse Chain, Hex, the whole ecosystem, we're gonna succeed. Just because of how good the community of Pulse Chain is as a whole, and how much people are, they have like that cypherpunk spirit. They really want to like fight for decentralization. They embody the RH principles. But if you picture that, let's say 100 new holders that are pretty loyal, and they have $100 to invest, a month to save up. They made their salary, they receive their paycheck, and they put aside $100. 100 holders, that's $10,000 a month coming in, right? In a year, that's 120,000, right? And then if you extrapolate that to 1,000 new holders, that's 1.2 million of capital inflow, right? And then if you think at the size of these liquidity pools, imagine 120 grand or 1.2 million coming in, buying up these assets, and all the burn and all the yield and all the metrics that will improve with that. It's just, things will just go like parabolic, like at a level never seen before, honestly. And if you think about it, it's an extremely, extremely, extremely conservative estimate, right? Like, we live in a world that's pretty much connected. Like 8 billion people in the world, but let's say 4 billion are actually able to invest. On a blockchain that's open 24/7. You think that over a course of a couple of years, we can't add like 1,000 new holders willing to, save up $100 a month, when sometimes you can get one guy alone who will put in like 10 grand, himself. So it's just, things will like really, really, and once it starts picking up, obviously the FOMO also sets in. So it's just like positive vicious cycle, and it's never going to be stopped, really. So it's looking really good. Just wanted to add that 2 cents.
Yeah, you also got to remember too what's going on. I don't know if you guys pay attention to politics and everything, but the money printer has been turned on. If you look at other cycles too, when the Federal Reserve, not just the Federal Reserve, you even have China. You got Chinese central bank basically turning their money printer on too. That's going to be insane. So I mean, it's all going to contribute to this bull run, because you know Asian markets buy plenty of crypto as well. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't just the United States and Western Europe here. This is the entire globe. And once you got these huge nations turning on their money printers, you're going to see a lot of people turning to crypto, because back in the day they used to do
Yeah.
traditional investments, finance. I mean, I got friends in traditional finance who have moved a lot into crypto recently. So it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and good thing is, like, truly, out of all the blockchains in crypto, Pulse Chain is one of the very few that's actually really, really true DeFi, true decentralization. It has, enough TVL where it will allow like bigger players to come in and play around and buy up the asset. So it's one of the few. There's not many. There's a bunch of VC chains. There's like the ones decentralized kind of Ethereum, but it's already a huge market that's not near the level of upside that Pulsechain has. And then you have the likes of like Solana, okay, but like goes down every other month, and then DC owns a bunch of coins. So it is one of like the few like true DeFi blockchains where you even run your own front end type of thing, so that literally can't be shut down, and that has that economic mass to and community for it to basically never die. Right? It's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, man, I'm loving it. It's gonna be good, man.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know from like the people, like on the space. If anybody, it's just a question I'm posing, or whoever wants to speak. Which coins are you looking into, and like why? And which coins do you think will could pop up really hard? Like, it could be like within It could be from RH ecosystem itself, whether it's like Pulsex that you like the most, or some other ecosystem like Pulsechain, or even something else within the chain,
I was gonna say, don't get me started on this topic. I have a lot to say as far as what I feel. Like you guys see me in the telegrams.
Yeah.
No, go for it, Derek. I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, so as far as my core RH tokens, I'm the most bullish on incentive token. And second to that is Pulse X. So I find it surprising that Hex on Pulse Chain is the one that's being the leader right now, which is definitely a good thing. I hold all the core RH tokens for sure. Um, Within Pulsarian, what I've been doing more recently is I've been trying to establish dolphin positions in multiple coins. Like it started with Caviar and G. Like those are the two I wanted to establish the most because I already had dolphin positions in a couple others. We're all working together to help each other win. And that's really what it's all about. It's like we're down here at these lows with respect to the core RH tokens, and seeing them do well is going to pull up everything else. And we're just going to all succeed together. We're going to have really big bags that are going to be worth a lot of money. So it's really about to get good, guys. And I'm just glad to be here with this community. Like, it's a really great place to be.
Throughout all of these RH pairs and stable coins, um, throughout every single token, and really, really expand that yield farming, to have like hundreds and hundreds of pools available. So it would just help, the ARB, the burn, and like the whole strength of the liquidity pools, because in the end they're all tied together, right? So even if you try to push down the price in one pool, it will like affect another one, and it helps the ecosystem as a whole. But that's just an idea, open to feedback.
So I know it's coming soon, but I've been stacking my tokens, so I'm ready to see what this is all about.
I think all of these assets, they have like tremendously good tokenomics, that really incentivizes, all sorts of good things, deflation, yield, buy and burn. So, and I think we can take that idea of yours and also apply it for other tokens within our ecosystem, and just keep buying and burning stuff, and give people, like airdrops and opportunity to get a pump, because people always, when something starts early, that's an easy opportunity of, just dropping a few bucks where you can like make that little bag of yours more valuable. uh, and it's the magic of crypto, like money is no longer in the control of like governments and banks and states, and we can just print our own, and give it value and grow our network.
Right, exactly. I totally agree.
Decentralized admin key free tokens that are deflationary, that are paying you in the core tokens that are the most important tokens for you to own essentially. I just think there's so much value in the whole ecosystem, and so many people are overlooking it. Maybe because they have PTSD from being scammed so many times. But there's so much to look into. We have the bubbles tracker, which is gatekeeping free. Every token on Pulse Chain gets exposure, no gatekeeping. It's amazing.
Yeah, you can set up a token to buy and burn eHex. Yep, definitely. You just deploy it on the pulsarian.com/factory, and then you just select your, reward contract, the target contract, as eHex, and if there's a Pulsex V2 like pull for it, it will do that. But that's totally possible.
The Godwell, you got the Bank X, they got 500 million EHEX. They stopped selling 2 weeks ago. We wish they would keep selling. You know what I mean? Like, please sell all your EHEX to us.
Yeah,
Let's
but
do
there can
this.
be a
They
time.
sold 300 mil.
But I
Sell
remember,
some more, please.
I do remember, like, and somebody mentioned this recently as well, that like, because I was there, I remember 21. I remember going from 2 4 cents. Oh, it's going to 6 7 8 cents, 10.
Okay, so if Richard Art or OA or any big player puts a liquidity pool in, and then they're buying their own liquidity pool, they're just buying their own coins from themselves and pumping their own coins up in price, which gives them more money, right? And then they can remove the liquidity and do it again and again, right? You can keep doing it over and over. And if you have multiple coins, you can do it on a ratio to each other. So if Pulse gets too hot, if Pulsex is getting too hot, like any of them could push the
Yeah,
other one at
yeah,
any
you could.
given moment.
Yep.
And you picked a winner, and you didn't, because everything is a winner at a different period of time.
Right. And you could say a period of time equates to ratio between each other, and those are correlated, and that's why PulseX can't have admin keys. I mean, or it can't be immutable.
No other coins can keep up because they don't have any whales that can push them that high. Then all the other coins start liquidating into the RH
Right.
coins, which provides a further pump. Right, basically, right?
Yeah,
Like
we can rely
this
on.
could
We
play
can get
out.
a
Who knows
10 to
if it will?
15% pump.
But
Yeah, we could get like
if
a
you, for
increase of.
example, a Tropa bought how much EHEX? 40 million? I don't know if they still have it, but they bought over 40 million. Like there comes a point when you look at these stupid trash coin that you just made out of thin air and you say, oh, I could swap that for EHEX or I could swap it for HEX or whatever. And eventually it sucks out the power of the liquidity pools of those other coins into the core coins that matter because they have the liquidity in stable coins, which these other coins don't have, right? They route to Pulse and then to stable, but they don't have the stables themselves.
Yeah, I think that's all.
That what I don't the thing is I want to talk only about market reality in the sense that I want to analyze like the way a market chartist would analyze the chart. Like what is the chart telling us about Bitcoin? And like things like the year over year profit margin of Bitcoin year over 15 years. Doesn't that look impressive? What is the year over year over
Do you like?
all the
Do
years
you
that
want to do a
Hex?
2x? You want to do a 2x?
I'm not. That's not the question, sir.
But I
I'm talking
mean,
about exact. Let's look
but
exactly at
if
the
you
chart
look,
of X and exactly at the chart. What do you see? Is it a steady growth up, always up year over year, or is it chaotic? It's chaotic. Okay, that wasn't a question. That was a statement, basically. So that shows me as a someone. If I'm a high net worth investor, and I see something that's consistently again and again and again year over year getting profits. It's doing better than gold. Wait a second. And then in January 2023, an ETF launches. Which what does that mean? The banks need it. Wall Street wants it now. Wall Street.
Buy the
Why
news,
has it?
buy the rumor, sell the news. Sorry.
Okay, okay. I don't really appreciate. Okay, that's a great one. Basically, that's what they did because how many years ago were they saying to all the people, "Don't buy Bitcoin, right? Don't buy Bitcoin." We can pull it up. It's like a parody. And now, oh yes, let's do Bitcoin on ET. Like, why would they do that? Because it's in their
Absolutely.
interest. Because it's their banks. It's in their
Yes.
interest.
But look
And
at the
because it's
adoption
yeah.
curve. Where's the adoption curve of Bitcoin right now? At its
So
all-time
we don't.
high. That's not the best. That's not good time to get in. You
Hey,
wanted it
sir, sir,
when you
sir,
wanted the best.
sir.
When was the best time to buy Bitcoin? When was the best time to buy Bitcoin?
Okay, well, you're losing track of the conversation. We're talking about market reality today. What's the price today? Okay, and what's the volume that wants to get in
64 or
today?
something $1,000 per unit. That's not a great deal for me as a new user who wants units.
I'm not talking about new users. I'm talking about high net worth individuals. I'm talking about institutions. They have lots of money, and it's five, even 5% for a family office is nothing. That's pennies, and they can easily get that. But they can't easily get that in the structure of taxes that they're used to as highly regulated funds. But now they can get it. They can all get it because they can get ETF. So
But they're
it's.
not.
I'm
But they
not
don't
saying that.
own anything. It's just another
Okay,
financial product, like of the
exactly.
centralized system. It's not. It's a
So welcome.
derivative.
So Bitcoin
I
has
don't
been
want to hang
captured.
out with
Bitcoin
the.
has been captured.
capture.
Right now, more than you can do with Bitcoin on chain, you could do with Bitcoin on Pulse chain. So Bitcoin on chain can do nothing except for send and
They have
receive and
they have
lock. The
BRC20.
Bitcoin on Pulse chain, you can actually trade, which you can't trade Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain. So the fact that
That's
we could
correct.
trade Bitcoin is a utility, and it makes it a speculative asset, which allows us to take the liquidity from the Bitcoiners and use it to pump our own coins. I mean, it's possible. So if you were to trade Bitcoin, I would recommend you would trade it on Pulse chain because you could trade it for half a penny in about what 10 seconds, whereas if you tried to do that anywhere else you'd have to KYC in a centralized exchange and you wouldn't have the freedom that we have to use Bitcoin.
So first, I had two parts. First, so Bitcoin already has BRC20, right? They have ordinals, they have runes, so you can You can trade sats. It's not like Bitcoin's just stuck on its own little network. You can trade amongst peer-to-peer. I mean, there's a lot of things coming to Bitcoin, especially as Bitcoin layer 2s advance even further. So as far as trading Bitcoin,
I
there
hope
has to be
so.
more utility. Second part, I mean, there's other platforms out there also with a better finality, better security, and faster transfer of Bitcoin, such as CKBTC. So what security methods, consensus methods for trading and transferring Bitcoin on Pulsechain do you guys have?
We have 48,000 validators that secure the network, and they're securing it with 1.5 trillion pulse, which is it's about almost 10% of the user-controlled supply of Pulse is backing up all around the world these computers. So it's a pretty decentralized network. I mean, it's not millions of computers around the world, but it's enough to where we feel comfortable to park our assets on there for the long haul, and I'm sure it'll grow over time. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. Bitcoin's copying Ethereum, right? Bitcoin's basically trying to see the good things that we love in EVM, and they're trying to do it, but the tech really isn't there, so they're going to have to do layer twos, and they're going to have to do, centralized options in order to accomplish what they want to. But in the end,
Yeah,
yeah, they'll
aka
try to
middleman.
knock off. They'll use wallets to try to, like the BRC20 thing. You're gonna have a certain wallet that can do certain things. With us, we have a local app, so we run the servers ourselves. So I don't need a website. I run the server to trade my own coins. I could trade Bitcoin on my own server. I don't need a KYC, nothing. My computer is running the server that allows me to swap the coins between two coins. And
So you have to trust your
we're
validators ultimately.
no. But I mean, to be honest, I am one, so I can trust myself. But
Yeah, you could just run
anyway,
your own
the
node
same with
and validate your
Bitcoin.
own transactions, on your
Right,
own.
same with Bitcoin. I mean, you're trusting two mining pools that control over 50% of your hash rate. One is in Beijing and one is in New York. Those are your central power sources. They're basically controlling the Bitcoin network as we speak. And it's very scary. I was an ETH miner for, since 2017. So for me, seeing the mining pools get at such a concentrated state as it is in Bitcoin, it really does scare me for the decentralization. This I know a lot of people don't care about decentralization anymore. All they want is the Bitcoin to go to $1 million, which is cool. It'll help all of us, and we'll all be happy. By the way, Rob's got his hand up. What's going on, Rob?
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, I just wanted to respond to that girl because she was talking about Bitcoin ETF and Pulse Chain. And you're talking apples and oranges, number one. But I think what happens a lot in crypto is people just think that it's like they need a reality check, a reference check, let's say, on like really it's not as big as you think. Like how Pulse Chain, everybody thinks, oh, Pulse Chain is so big, it's so little compared to Bitcoin. And then you think everybody's like, oh, Bitcoin ETFs. Everybody thinks it's such a big deal on Wall Street. It's not a big deal on Wall Street. And I'll give you an example quick. I got a good family friend from Miami. He works for Merrill Lynch. He's VP there. He's got 500 million under management. And when the ETF went live, I hit him up and I was like, you got the ETF now. Now you could sell it to your customers. And he's like, yeah, I'm not selling it. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, if they call me and they want it, like I'll sell it to them now, but they're not pushing it. And so if you look at Bitcoin and then compare it to Wall Street, it's like the fly on an elephant's ass. I mean, it's not that big. And so
Yeah.
we
They got Wall Street's 50 trillion and 500 trillion in derivatives, 50 trillion in stocks, and 500 trillion in derivatives. Bitcoin is what, a trillion and a half or something? I mean, it's dust compared to what Wall Street is.
yeah, so that's all I wanted to say is just, we need to all, come back, fly down low, get your head out of the clouds. You're not
Yeah.
that big.
Let's put it this way: Nvidia is worth more than the entire crypto market. So yeah,
That's actually kind of scary.
and it's probably going to 10x from here because AI is a more powerful narrative than
That's
crypto.
the
Sad
crazy
to
thing.
say.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's like how it had such a run up, and I'm thinking, man, I need to
Now,
pick up some Nvidia stock. Like, it's
can you
just,
guys put LLMs on Pulsechain?
And LLMs won't fit on any blockchain. I mean, that's massive amounts of data. But Anyway, no, it's. I mean, we're supporters of Bitcoin. I mean, Rob's been in Bitcoin almost since the beginning, right, Rob?
2015, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Richard Hart was in there in 2010. I noticed a wallet recently moved some coins around from the year 2009. The first month of Bitcoin's creation, just moved some coins around. So either Satoshi himself is still alive moving coins, or Hal Finney's still alive. He faked his own death or whatever, or one of the very close guys, Nick Szabo, perhaps.
If I had to put my money on it, I'd say Satoshi is Nick Szabo. If I was a betting man.
Yeah, I mean he did create BitGold, which was part of the Bitcoin creation, and Hal Finney created the proof of work mining, so that was the other part. So yeah, it's probably a collaboration between those two guys, and maybe Wade
And Beck
as
too.
well.
Beck, I think Beck actually was the one who might have
Yeah,
wrote it, like actually physically wrote it out, the white paper, because it's got
yeah,
English, it's got English writing style.
yeah. They're empty chains. We're basically ghost chains, right? When they start out, and then people create new stuff. But what we did was we took everything that since the history of Ethereum, we took it all with us over to Pulsechain. So this is not like something we're just starting from scratch on. We're actually taking the users, taking all the information, all the code with us, and so far it seemed to work pretty good as far as moving the community over.
So what are
And
some
hey,
of the
if you have any an ERC20s that you had the keys to those coins, there's most likely a liquidity pool.
Really kind of a smart contract piggybacking off of a layer one, right? It needs a layer one to validate its code base and all that. So anyway, but yeah. So
incentives for Pulse?
your incentive for Pulse, lower fees. So like when the GUI gets astronomical and ridiculous on Ethereum, it may cost you $700 to do something, whereas on Pulsechain it may cost you 70 cents, right? So there's lower fees to do transactions. And if I'm a liquidity provider, like if I'm a big liquidity provider, maybe it's not as important. But you did get, if you're a liquidity provider and you had a bunch of tokens on Ethereum and you got them copied over for free on another chain, that's a huge incentive for you to go and bridge your assets over from one chain and pair them with the liquidity, with the newly created tokens on the other chain. And you just had half of your, you had 50% risk, was reduced, right? So you're now like incentivized to go over there and see what happens, right? So
Is that a set amount,
also
or
from a
does that
user,
change?
what, the LP, like providing
The fees.
liquidity? Well, so the biggest incentive I'd say for Pulsechain is probably being a validator, so you can actually earn additional Pulse, and be rewarded in newly minted Pulse as per your your validator node. And the more validators you're running, in theory, the more Pulse you earn. So there's an incentive with that, with just participating in being a validator. And there's some certain hardware requirements. It's not too terrible, but you basically have to have you need to have 100% uptime, 24/7. If you have an ISP that throttles you like I do, because I can't ever go down.